Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to see you here. My name is Jane Shodel. I'm one of the festival programmers, and it's my great pleasure to assist in presenting this extended Q&A for the film Brad's Status, which is in our platform section. We're going to have a couple of moments of on-stage conversation here, and then we're going to open it up to questions from you. When we do that part of it, if you could raise your hand and sort of wave it back and forth, it helps me see it against the light. And if you could keep your questions succinct, that would be terrific, because I'm going to repeat them for the benefit of everyone in the house. So now, please join me in welcoming and congratulating writer-director Mike White.
Thanks for staying. Oh, I'm supposed to do this. I'm sorry, I shut down. Ben Stiller, Austin. Oh, Ben Stiller, yeah.
This is my seat. Yeah, sure.
Sorry.
Austin Abrams. Jenna Fisher. Oh my God, Jenna Fisher. It's a beautiful dress. Beautiful dress. Beautiful lady in a beautiful dress. Luke Wilson. It's going casual tonight. Shazi Raja. And Shazi, all right. And Louisa Lee. Gosh, so pretty.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Congratulations to all of you on a remarkable film. Terrific performances. Thank you. So there's so much to talk about in this film. I honestly don't know where to start. There's existential questions, anxieties around parenting, all of these things. Can you talk a little bit about the genesis for the idea of the script? What was going on with you that this came?
Okay, so yeah, I guess I don't know. I think I feel like what was happening over the years, I would see movies of contemporary directors of mine, writer directors or whatever, and I would be like, I know this guy. He's so ambitious. All he cares about is movies and winning. And then his movie would be like a slacker who's in love with a and I'm like, that's not you. You don't think about that. You're thinking about and I was like, and so I was thinking about how that you know, in fact, that's what a lot of ambitious people spend a lot of their time thinking about is like, am I up? Am I down? Where do I stand? And so, yeah, so I was trying to find the right format for those ideas. Because I do that too. So then I was thinking that the father-son story came upon me, and yeah, so there's a lot of things I wanted to talk about in the movie, and it kind of just continued to gestate
And grew.
and still gestating.
And can you then talk a little bit about how you put together this amazing cast? When you were writing, were you thinking of them?
Well, a lot of these people are friends of mine, the older people. The older people are friends of mine. And I just, knowing them and I was like, okay, yes. You know, especially in the world that we live in, you can't audition people of this stature anymore. So you just have to go okay, I know that
I would have auditioned.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Seriously, if you said you wanted to read some scenes, I would have, for sure.
Okay,
because
well,
I read the script and really
I have another script in the back. We could do a little reading later.
I'll send you my reel.
No, so I mean, obviously Ben was key. I sent it. We sent it to him, and when he, it was the best day was when he got involved and got the movie to happen, And then as far as the younger people in the cast, they all audition, and I was like, actually, like when I saw Austin's like self-tape, I was like, oh, okay, this actually could be a movie. Like we could do this because he was so good. So yeah, so it was a mix of stuff. But like, Luke and Jenna are friends of mine, and and they did me a solid by participating in this. Thank you.
Thank you. Ben, if I can ask you, this is seriously, a beautifully textured performance from you, really nuanced and beautiful and dramatic and deep. And please do. So can I ask how you approach something like this, something that has so many facets to it?
Yeah, I mean, I was excited to get the script. I don't know. I feel like Mike had written another script that was like a children's movie with talking animals, and they sent that to me by accident. And I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. And then my agent calls, oh no, they sent you the wrong script. and then I read Brad's status, and I was like, oh, this is even cooler. I was just, Mike, I've been a fan of Mike's for a long time. We've known each other over the years because I'm one of his old friends. We never really worked together. And I just thought the script was beautiful, and I saw something in it that I think a lot of people saw, which was that he was trying to get at something that people don't really talk about a lot and make movies about at all. Yeah. And, he's sort of breaking all these rules with the script, with like a voiceover that goes throughout the whole movie, which you're never supposed to do, and things like that. And I felt like it was such a bold and confident script, and he wanted to get at something. And I know Mike's one of the funniest people around, but he really, when I knew he was directing it, and he said, I knew it was a personal thing for him, and I wanted to be a part of it because I knew he would bring a lot to it. Because I think, you could look at a story like that, and this is the first time I've ever seen it with an audience, and you guys were great. It was great. But it was really fun to see it with an audience. I was surprised there were so many laughs in it, honestly. I swear to God, because it's like this depressed guy walking around for almost 2 hours or whatever. And but yet people, I guess, connect with this thing that he's going through, and I think it's a very universal thing. But I knew Mike would bring so many different colors to it and wanted to not just make a comedy. So for me, I just came at it as like, all right, how can I fulfill the character? How can I bring as much reality to it as possible? And working with great actors, it was really fun. And Mike is a really laid-back director.
Moving on. Yes,
in a great way. So anyway.
I'd also like to ask about the relationship between you and your son, which feels very, very natural and unaffected. Was there something that you did together to create that sense, that tone around your relationship? It's very unself-conscious, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
I adopted Austin. He's legally my child now.
Right. Okay.
And his birth parents are here, but this is the first time we're meeting, actually. It is, actually. They're wonderful, two wonderful doctors who I'm sure are so happy that their son is an actor. But luckily, he's a brilliant actor, so he's going to have a great career. We just wanted to hang out as much as possible. We had right?
Yeah.
Talk.
No.
Yeah, no, right?
Actually, Ben was like, maybe we should do a road trip. We'll drive from Boston to New York. I was like, I don't know. Really? Okay.
Yeah, we did Montreal to New York because we were shooting in Montreal, and then we also did Montreal to Boston with too. But Montreal to New York was great. No. Yeah. The first 4 hours were awesome. But no, we stopped because there's Fort Ticonderoga is on the way from Montreal to Boston. I love his history, Revolutionary War history, and Austin sort of does.
No, I do. Yeah.
So I dragged him to Fort Ticonderoga, and we ended up spending like 3 hours there.
Yeah,
right?
We spent a long time.
Yeah.
No, it was good. It was fun. No, I had a good time. I learned a lot of things. He bought me a book. I learned a lot of things.
I did. I bought you a book.
He bought me. It's true.
About George Washington?
George Washington. Yeah. George Washington.
But it was great. So anyway, I think
The parental relationship is
Yeah.
very clear.
No, but in he suggested that, and I thought it was very. I'm very happy that he did, because it really helped. Because I feel like that's kind of a difficult thing, a father and son, to actually, when you have to do it on camera in the film, it's you really got to make something there, and I thought that really really helped and added to it.
I think any amount of time and history you can have with someone before you start filming, even if you're just not talking about anything other than life stuff, is helpful.
Jenna, your character, Melanie, has very different anxieties for her son than her husband does. Can you speak again a little bit about that, about discovering that part of her?
Yeah, I based Melanie on my sister Emily, because in real life I'm a Brad. I just pretend to be a Melanie. So yeah, I thought it was really important that, and what I loved that Mike brought out was that that Melanie is passionate and feisty and believes in social justice, and she's not like a doormat or a wallflower in any way. She's really Brad's equal, but the way that they're different is that she's kind of like she's able to endure his neurosis without taking it on herself. Like, she is able to remain separate from it, and she loves him completely, and she's accepts that that's how his brain works. Like my husband accepts my brain. Very lucky.
And on screen, I see a lot of her in her son. That part, that is that very accepting, is very stolid, very confident and grounded. And that's one of the things I really loved about the film, was you could see the elements of both of these parents in this child.
I think that's true. I think he's kind of his mother's son in that way. Yeah.
Mr. Wilson, if I can ask, you had a very short amount of screen time to establish, which you did beautifully, a really dimensional character who has a lot
That's
of...
what I was telling Ben on the movie, is I decided that the next 20 years of my career was just going to be flashbacks and montages. That dialogue is really kind of a dying art. And that you can do just so much more with just a look than a lot of words.
Perhaps I misphrased that.
No, excuse me, go ahead.
But I found your character
He's
very...
so good. He has
I found your character very moving, especially because we're seeing him through his eyes, and we see these perceptions and illusions fall away. And I'm just wondering how do you make that so efficient as you did? That's some very, very complex stuff.
Well, all kidding aside,
Yes.
it really does kind of make you focus more when you just have that kind of one scene where you have dialogue and I'm not going to say that I phone it in some days, but no, there was that
You're
one.
never coming back here, are you? That's right. I just totally blew this right up, didn't I? That's right.
No, but it was interesting just having that one scene. And funnily enough, when Mike first got in touch with me about the script, he said he had 2 parts that he might want me to play. And one of them shot in Hawaii, and I just thought, gosh, well, it would be nice to shoot in Hawaii. And these are things that I felt like Daniel Day-Lewis never thinks about. Like, maybe I should take the part that shoots in Hawaii. Anyhow, I had a great time on the movie.
I've totally lost control of this whole thing, so I think it might be time to open it up to the audience. We're coming back to you. So why don't we do that? Because I've lost all confidence. So we'd like to have an opportunity to have your questions. Again, as I said, if you can wave your hand back and forth, please be succinct, and please keep it about the movie. So, yes, go ahead, sir.
For Ben, there were a lot of cringe-worthy moments. I know I can feel it. When you're delivering, when you're in that scene, are you feeling the cringe the way we are?
I'd
Did
like
everybody
to
hear the question?
You know, I'm going to repeat it for everyone. This gentleman said there are a lot of cringe-worthy moments in this film. When you're in the scene, are you feeling the cringe as much as we are?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of my job to do that,
Yeah,
and feel it,
I was gonna
and
say.
try to be in it. I feel like that's, Mike wrote a lot of these moments that are very, I think, like sort of, they're painful inside. They're little sort of moments that happen to us in life that are very big for you if you're a person, right? But nobody really ever makes movies about them, really, that's what I was really attracted to in the script, was that he was showing how, your life is kind of your own movie, right? And you're living it and nobody's really watching it, which also can happen if you're an actor too. But this was very, for me, like a movie about these small moments that are actually huge for people. And so if I could, I have to like live in that, because that's what it is, and they are cringeful, but most of the time nobody even is aware that it's happening, I guess, or so anyway, not that I don't think that answers your question.
I think
Okay.
it does. Yes. Are there other questions here? Yes, over there, please. Yeah.
Mike, why did you cast yourself in the movie? And are you really richer than Ben Stiller?
The question
In real
is,
life?
Mike, why did you cast yourself in the movie,
That's
and
a
are you
great
really
question.
richer
Oh,
than Ben
sorry.
Stiller?
I have 3 words: School of Rock,
There you are.
Broadway, residuals.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What happened? What did she say?
The first.
Okay, so
let's
I-
go
all right.
back to the first question.
The reason I cast myself in the movie was because the character had no lines, so we had to find. I was like, no actor I know is gonna do this part. And I'm not gonna cast an extra that we then have to fly to Montreal and then Hawaii. It was a practical decision. Actually, the director of photography, Javier Grobe, plays my husband. So. And he sort of steals the movie, in my opinion. But, so yeah, there was a practical reason. But I also thought it was kind of just funny, because, like, usually I'm, like, the sad sack in the basement with the losers. And I just thought it'd be kind of meta to, like, be the object of envy as well as, being, I don't know, Brad or whatever.
One of my favorite things in the movie is the look on Mike's face on the cover of that Architectural Digest, or or the story.
All right. I am looking for other. Yes, up here, please. Well, I'm going to have to try to paraphrase that. It's a beautiful question, though. The question for you, Mike, is you've made a wonderful film about how dissatisfaction can harm us, and you show us a lot of it and how it plays out. But what is the thing that you want us to take away from it?
Thank you for asking. Okay. I guess, for me, I do think that, like, I'm just thinking about, like, right now, like, oh, we're going to get all the reviews, and, like, maybe the reviews will be good, and I'm great, and then, oh, the bad review, oh, I'm nothing, I'm a piece of shit. And you realize if you look, I mean, this is a cliche, I didn't come up with this, but if you look to external things to validate yourself, even if you're winning, you're playing a loser's game, So, you have to start with yourself. Life is a grassroots campaign. you got to believe in yourself, and you got to be good to the people that are right in front of you. It's not a top-down life, you know. It's a bottom-up, you know. And I think that that's the point of the movie.
Thank you. This is very much a part of Shazi's character, Ananya, too. For me, she was very much that touch point in the film. There's not a question there. I just wanted to observe.
Totally okay with that.
Okay, all right. If there's-
Shazi, it's your first film, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
congratulations.
This is
I
my
find
first
remarkable.
film.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah. And while you have the mic, then perhaps you could talk a little bit about how you
Ananya?
approached her. And there's a lot of really intense conversation going on between these two characters.
Yeah, there is. I love Ananya. Ananya is a badass. She's really great. Well, yeah, when I read the script, I fell in love with her immediately. She's a lot smarter than I am. But there's this theory that I've been reading this book, and there's this theory where a certain scientist thinks that happiness only happens if you create it for yourself. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I do think it's a really, really good point to always believe in and always think about, that if you're having issues, if you're dissatisfied with yourself and you're looking out, always looking out, then you have to change something. And you can't change other people, and that's not the way to do it. So you have to look inside yourself and change yourself. And I also really liked what Ananya had to say to Brad, because I think you get so wrapped up in social media and what other people are doing and what they look like and all those things. I think you forget about core values, family, what you do have, what other people don't have. And Ananya's main thing is you're this wonderful person and doing all these things for the less fortunate, but you're not really thinking about them at all. You're just thinking about yourself. So in that way, you have to look outside yourself to other people. But yeah.
I think you totally misunderstood Brad.
I think Brad thinks that, yeah, for sure.
We can talk about it later.
Okay.
Moving on. Yes, in front.
I imagine Hollywood is a very competitive place, and I was just wondering how you maintain perspective and check yourself when the competitiveness of Hollywood gets in the way.
Would you be asking someone in particular or the gang? All right, her question is a really interesting one. She imagines that, I think you have a great imagination, that Hollywood is a very competitive place. And she wonders how you grapple with that and stay grounded. All of you. Each of you, I would imagine, would have a different take.
Luke, come on. Give us another gem. Come on.
Come on.
I honestly said to Mike backstage, now I shouldn't be out on stage, and he asked me to come out here, but I think it's probably like any other business, you know, competitive here and there, you know, who knows?
I do think that Hollywood, though, is a place where you feel like people are winning the lottery all around you. You're like, oh my God, oh great, a 5-picture deal. Oh, good for her. I think that that's, you know, like in the world of like Silicon Valley, and someone sold their company for and like so. But I think that yes, in this business, it's not a meritocracy.
No.
What? Okay, yeah, and I mean, and so yeah, there's always this feeling that like it's like well, I'm as good as, you know. So yeah, it does lead to this, and I think that actors in general, You know, it's like you realize every movie that comes out, you're like, oh, I wasn't offered that. You don't even have to like go out for something and you realize you were rejected. So like there's like a constant sense of like, oh, really? Okay. So you know, for everything you get, there's 90,000 things you didn't get and 90,000 meetings nobody wanted to take with you. So it does send, it's a kind of a place where it's impossible not to feel self-conscious and in a feedback loop about yourself, and to be able to like, yeah, you know, ride it out and have a sense of, you know, your own value is, yes, it takes a strong person to, you know, keep your eyes on the prize.
I think it's different for everybody. What do you guys do when you get really stressed out at work and you need to feel grounded? You spend time with your loved ones and your family and your friends, and you go outside and do fun things outside and go for a road trip or a hike or something like that. I think it's different for everybody, but there's definitely, it's needed. 100%, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yes, up here, sir.
Question is for Mike. Two things. What was the inspiration of the movie? And the second question is, if you had to choose a role other than yourself to play, which character would you play?
All right.
Would you be?
All right. So the first question is, what was the inspiration for the film? Though we may have touched on that at the beginning. And the second question was, if you could have played any of the parts in the film besides the one you did, would there be one that
I
you
relate to Melanie. I'm just happy. I don't know.
Would you remake the film where you played every role? Would you consider that? Where you play everybody?
We would show that here.
We would watch it.
I don't know. I don't know who I would. I mean, I am every. I mean, it's a cliche, but I am every character. I definitely am Brad. I am a little Melanie. I am a little what's his face, and I am also a little Michael Sheen. Like sometimes I'll be with friends and I'll just be like, let's just crush you. Bing, 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 bing. No, I don't know.
Can I say something? Though I thought it was really, this isn't funny, but that it was interesting, and I was amazed at how well Mike wrote the part of a father not being a father. You know, it's just, to me, that he hit on some very, very real things, and you know, and maybe it's because he was writing, just because he's a great writer, but also, you know, as a son, thinking about that, I think that's what's you know interesting about the dynamic in the movie, that the son is a very strong character, but somehow you channeled what it is to be a dad too. You don't have kids, right, that we know of? Maybe? I don't know.
Okay. All right. We have time for two more questions. There's one at the back there, please. Right. That's a great question. She's asking about the editing and the process that you do that. Did you record it and then lay it on top of an edit? Or did you record first and then suit the edit somewhat to the voiceover?
Well, we did record the voiceover prior to editing, and we used the voiceover to create the first, like, what do they call it? Like cut? I don't know, the first cut?
Yep.
And then we saw it, and you know, so the voiceover changed a lot. Like, you know, it transformed over time, and you know, in the end, it becomes more, it's a more fluid process, and so things, you know, that was the last stuff we were still tweaking at the end. Was just like, do we need this? Is it, you know, it's like, because it is a lot of voiceover and trying to run the, you know, like where it felt like it was actually, you know, accentuating the movie, or you know, value added versus just like
We did the voiceover a lot.
like a million times. I'm
times.
sorry.
We recorded one version in Hawaii
Yeah,
in a
I'm
hotel
sorry.
room.
I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, okay. We did it a lot, but it was because I was just changing it around.
All right. Okay. And there was a question over here, please.
Yeah, I mean, I
Her question is again about the voiceover, saying, at what point in your writing process did you make the decision that this was the best way, the best structure to showcase this story and create these characters?
Well, it definitely felt like it's about his relationship to himself, so it was hard, sometimes you can't get that through conversations with other people, and I think when I realized, I was like, okay, it's like, the day itself is not going to be that dramatic, there's not going to be that much plot, and it's really just like, but the ups and downs and like the triggers of like, somebody who's like, feels like their whole self is at stake with every little, little humiliation or whatever. So that, to me, that was when I realized, okay, it's a voiceover movie and it is about somebody going, up and down in his head, but the day is not that up and down, is when it seemed like it was like, oh, okay, I get what I'm trying to do.
Ugh, Mike's just going on, trying to sound like a serious director. I can't stand it. When is this thing gonna be over?
And on that note, I'd like to thank you all so much for allowing us to premiere this film.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all very much.